The truth about anxiety disorders, part 2. So we talk about how the disorder is often classified based on how you feel, but the truth is that it's actually the disordered response. Disordered response being what happens if you have a physical symptom and you start thinking, well, what if this is something bad? What if the doctor missed something? Oh, I just want this to go away. Oh, my life is miserable. I can't do anything because anytime I do something, I feel this. And so they start developing these avoidance behaviors, right? And so we think the disorder is the fact that they're experiencing palpitations, and that's technically true. But what keeps the disorder alive is the response, it's the panic, it's the freaking out, it's the uncertainty of what's happening. It's always catastrophizing. Now look, this isn't anybody's fault, right? This is what anxiety does. It's supposed to do that. It's supposed to make you think worst case scenario so that it can prepare you to prepare if that's the case. But here's the problem. This is what fuels the anxiety. This is what makes it a disorder. This is why people will experience these situations in really extreme situations, like let's say jumping out of a plane, if they're skydiving. But you're experiencing this when you're just at home by yourself. The second thing that I mentioned was something called sensitization. What happens is your nervous system becomes hypersensitive to these different things. See, if you're experiencing symptoms all the time, your attention goes there, and anything you put your attention on grows. Example is you buy a car and then all of a sudden you're driving your car and you start seeing other people having your car and you're like, what the heck, am I a trendsetter? No, it was always there, but because you didn't have your attention on it, you didn't realize. That's the same way with a lot of these symptoms. To be fair, these symptoms are actually more intense, okay? These symptoms are intense. It's not like I'm saying these symptoms are super small and you're making a big deal out of it. No, the symptoms are intense. But they're a side effect of the nervous system being very sensitized. And what's keeping it sensitized? Well, it's the response. It's the disordered response. Now, here's what happens. If you fix the disordered response, guess what happens to the anxiety symptoms? Guess what happens to the intrusive thoughts? Guess what happens to the DPDR, the depersonalization, derealization, the physical symptoms, the weird emotions, the brain fog? It all ends up going away. You may still get them in situations where it's anxiety provoking, but let's be honest here. Anybody that experiences anxiety will experience symptoms, not just like people with anxiety disorders, anybody. The only thing is that it happens in situations that are stressful and then disappears when the stressor is gone. So the moral is this: if you can focus on the response, all of this ends up going away. This is how I help people around the world. This is how I recovered from it. If you really want to learn more, follow this page, join my lives, and ask me your questions.